we were trying to figure out names, and I think it's important to kind of look up what a name means. Because you want to make sure that it's not like translated from Sanskrit. That just means
you're originally
like,
supposed to be Christine, right?
My dad wanted a name. If I was a boy, I was supposed to be Benjamin.
Which is actually, Christine actually means Christ stain. So I wouldn't
like
want
that
to be
shroud?
Christ stain either.
That shroud they have with Christ's image on it.
I don't know why that's funny to me, but it is. It's just being called Christ stain. Baby names.
Some of you may know, some of you may not. We're having a baby. Not today, not tomorrow, but in a few months.
In a few months, we're going to be having a baby, so we're coming up with baby names.
Yeah.
So before we begin, you can in the comments below, please let us know what you think we should call our baby.
Yep. Yep.
We need boy names and girl names.
Yep.
So we kind of have a few already. Let's
we're not sharing
clarify that.
But
if you want to know further what we actually call our baby, please subscribe to the channel and hit that icon.
We will announce that eventually.
We will announce it.
Baby to be named. We'll have some privacy online, absolutely. But we're going to be new parents. So we're going to.
And if we pick one of your names, we will give you a baby. No, I'm just joking. We will give you a Google card.
Yeah, and our baby will sign a picture of it and send it to you.
There you go. Sounds good.
Supervised, of course, but they will do that.
Because we're still trying to figure out whether or not we're going to have our life open with the baby. So we're trying to figure that out. So I
think a little bit of a glimpse is okay, but I think that baby, boy or girl, deserves to have some
anonymity
and choices if they want.
So we might even tell you it's a fake name, so who knows?
Yeah, who knows? This is our baby Bertrand.
Bertrand, oh, well, there you go. So take it away.
Yeah, so I was asking my mom like how she came up with my name because my dad wanted to name me Christine. Nothing against that, but I don't look like a Christine. I think it would be weird if my name was Christine. Any variation.
You didn't even go to church, so why would you name Christine?
Yeah, it just doesn't work. So my mom said that she was walking in the mall and was in the perfume department and saw like a perfume by Lauren Bacall, I think, and it was signed, and she loved the way Lauren was written. She thought, that's really pretty, so she suggested that. So that's how I got my name. Do you know
the L.
Yeah, because my name does look very pretty when it's written in cursive. How did your parents get your name? Do you know? Because your mom said you would have been named Erin, Erin, if you were a girl.
Yeah.
So they just liked that name?
I know it was between that and Robert.
Because that's your grandfather's name.
That's my grandfather's name.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom's name is Roberta.
Right.
And I think as a kid, I actually preferred Robert.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't like Aaron.
Yeah.
Well,
there's so many ways to give yourself a nickname if your name's Robert.
Yeah,
Bob, Rob, Robbie, Bobby.
Bobbert.
Bert.
Bobbert, I don't think is underused nickname for someone named Robert. Bobbert.
So yeah, and like my sister got her name because my mom liked we would watch Who's the Boss, and she thought Alyssa Milano's name was Elisa. That's how she pronounced it. So she was like, that's pretty. And that's why my sister's name is Elisa.
I had an aunt that got her names off of Y&R or soap operas.
I have a few friends who were named after soap opera characters.
Like Chantel and what was the other one? Destiny? No. I think it was Destiny.
My friend Tiffany was named after a character on I think Days of Our Lives.
Sure,
my middle name is Ashley. That's my middle name. Yeah.
Was it after Ashley Bodden?
Ashley Bodden?
Not Ashley.
She was an improviser in Toronto.
Ashley Jabot, sorry.
Ashley Newman.
Ashley Newman.
Who works for Jabot.
Yeah, but she was originally Ashley Abbott. So.
Right.
I watched that with my mom.
Yeah, I watched that with my mom too. I think my mom will not admit to it, but I think Ashley, which is my middle name, possibly came from a soap opera. She just said it was a very popular name, which she's not wrong, it was. But was that because of soap operas? I don't know. So anyways, we were trying to figure out names, and I think it's important to kind of look up what a name means. Because you want to make sure that it's not like translated from Sanskrit. That just
you're
means
originally
like,
supposed to be Christine, right?
My dad wanted a name. If I was a boy, I was supposed to be Benjamin.
Which is actually, Christine actually means Christ stain. So I wouldn't
like
want
that
to be
shroud?
Christ stain either.
That shroud they have with Christ's image on it.
I don't know why that's funny to me, but it is. It's just being called Christ stain.
I'm glad that I'm not that. Yeah. So, but Lauren is from the word laurel, and that means victory in Latin and Greek. So that's nice. I like that.
I think Aaron just means hey.
Well, it's a biblical name too.
Yeah, it's the name of Moses' brother. I believe it means mountain, is what I believe it means.
Well,
in
Moses
Hebrew.
would know about mountains.
What?
So I was like, sometimes I Google and I look up baby names, and there's like this whole fashion right now of bringing back very traditional, almost old English names like Robert, Elizabeth, John.
Jack. Jack is a big one.
That's always
very large.
that's always kind of like in the fashion. But I looked this up and it was like, because celebrity baby names are usually the most hilarious, and some of them aren't bad, but some of them, like August. Mark Zuckerberg.
I actually like August.
August isn't bad.
One of my names.
I like August. That's not bad. Amalia instead of Amelia.
I like Augustus.
Because that just makes me go, Augustus? Like, I just think of like a really pudgy baby that you can't take chocolate out of its hands. Sorry, anybody named Augustus. Bodhi. Bodhi.
Oh.
That is a boy name. Bodhi.
Bodhi.
Bowie Rose. That is a little girl's name. That's pretty hip. You're kind of putting a lot of pressure on it. Ella. That is very common. Elle or Ella. That is very common right now. That's kind of a hot name.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Eva. Same thing. Gloria. That's back, I guess. That's new to me. Lyric. What do you think of names that are about...
No.
Okay. So, there you go.
Those names to me are like just... I don't want to be rude, but it just sounds like stripper names. Like Destiny and Lyric and like things that are actually like... What is it? I don't know what that is. I was horrible at school. So if you know what that is an adjective? No. It's not an adjective. It's not a noun either. It's a pronoun?
Onomatopoeia?
No, it's a pronoun. Like to be Destiny or Lyric, it's just a word that means something,
right.
But it's not...
Like heaven, it shouldn't be a surname or a first name.
No, don't do it. Don't do that.
I don't know that Lyric sounds like a stripper name to me. Lyric sounds like you travel in a Renaissance fair.
No, that is
Destiny, unfortunately, yes, kind of sounds like you could be a stripper.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not because strippers are named that, but because strippers choose that to be their name, which is a choice I don't understand.
Oh, Desiree was the soap opera name that I was Miss.
Desiree.
Desiree was one.
Wisdom.
No. You can't have a dumb wisdom. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. Rainy.
Rainy.
I don't dislike it, but I don't really love it. Rainy.
Has a smell. Has a smell to it. You know what I mean?
It smells like a
think of rainy.
trailer.
Think of rainy. It's like it's not like rain. It's not like a clear rain. It's like a kind of a rusty smell.
Okay.
It smells like beefaroni in a can that's gone rusty. So don't.
Rainy. It makes me think of the inside of a tent trailer.
There you go. See, got a tinny smell.
Yep. Okay. So then we got like the old school ones, like Lucille or Louise.
Louise is cute, but only for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Then they turn into like a 20-year-old something, and it's Louise, and it's like.
And then you'd always be like, "Geez, Louise." And they'd be like, "Mom."
They would be tired of it. They wouldn't even do that. They'd be like, "Yeah, original."
So I think it's interesting when you see, because as a pregnant lady, I've been going to Aquafit, which is primarily populated by elderly people. So the other day, the teacher was like, "Can everyone go and high five somebody new that you've never met before and introduce yourself?" And I met two ladies. One lady named Myrna and another lady named Loretta. And I was like, those are not names that you would hear anymore. And do you think that will have a fashion and come back?
Loretta sounds like someone that's kind of cute.
I just hear a country song when I hear Loretta, but that's just because Loretta Lynn.
Yeah.
But like Myrna, do you think there's a lot of newborn babies born in the world named Myrna now?
Well, I know this is a little bit of profile-y feeling to it, but a lot of, I think, Asian kids that came over when I grew up
got a North American name?
North American name got like very old-fashioned names like Loretta.
And Alice.
Like Jasper. Like, why?
That's true. But it's probably because they hear something cool and they're like, yeah, I like that name. Or that's classic. Or they're like really making sure like that name's been around forever and they will definitely know how to pronounce that. So maybe that's why they pick names like that.
Sure.
But, you know, like Robert, that's an older name, but that's kind of classic. That can always be around. Charles.
Yeah.
John.
Yeah.
James. That was my grandfather's name. Alan. That was my other grandfather's name. So I don't know.
There's so many people that are like saying no to a deal you're trying to make at the bank. Those Alan and James. No.
Oh yeah, like bank managers that aren't very nice.
Like,
Nerds. Yeah, I don't know. 'Cause I don't... Sorry, Alan and Charles. But anyways, like, I wanna give our kid a name that is, like, interesting, somewhat easy to pronounce and spell, gives them some personality, but doesn't take away any chance of a different personality. Because, like you said, if you named your kid Lyric and they want to be an accountant, that's an odd pairing.
It just... When you give it a name that is so... it already means something, you can't expect... Like, it's always going to be the smallest version of that could be.
Right, but don't you think people name people after things that matter to them? Like... For example, Arya is now a very popular name for a little girl, and that is a very awesome character from Game of Thrones. So...
Oh, I thought of it as a small musical interlude.
Right, but they spell it like the character on Game of Thrones. Arya. Not Arya like a song. But, so, I mean, is that wrong to give your kid that? Because you're like, no, that's a very strong, empowered, kick-ass character, and I want to give that to my daughter. Is that bad to do?
Right now, I feel like the popular names are basically black musicians from the 30s.
Miles.
That's Miles, Parker,
Chet,
Sophie, Naomi. Like,
Billy.
They're like a lot of them are like names
Yeah.
from like Sophie Baker. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Right, so.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, is there ever going to be the right way to name your kid? Because what was it? There was a celebrity who had a kid named Pilot, I think. Yeah. Pilot Inspector. Yeah, Jason Lee named his kid Pilot Inspector. Inspector with a K. Now, a lot of people will be like, "What a stupid celebrity name!" But you don't know. Maybe his life was saved by a pilot.
Wait until kids start naming their kids after like video games. Like, you're gonna get
This is Halo.
This is Ryu and
This is my son Street Fighter.
Mario. No, like the characters within it. There's gonna be that's gonna happen.
Like Lara Croft.
Like Zangief. Someone's gonna be named Zangief.
Someone probably already is named Zangief and has no...
Thank you for watching, Zangief. We love you. Please subscribe. Hit that icon. Thanks.
And Zangief. But yeah, so like, because I was watching this thing and in the States, there's actually certain countries where, I think it's Sweden, you can only name your children out of a set 500 names.
What?
And you can't go outside of that. Like, they're approved.
That's a little bit socialist.
I don't know if it's Sweden. Don't mark my words. But it's like a European country. And then also there was a court case in the States where someone wanted to name their son Adolf Hitler or something.
We talked about this.
Right. So, I mean... I'm assuming, like, are they naming their kid that to make a statement because that's something they believe in, however horrific that is? And what's the difference between doing that and then being like, I like Lyric because I love songs, and I fell in love with your mother because of a lyric, and now we made you because of a lyric. You were conceived during a lyric of a song.
Your child will never be a god. Stop naming them godlike things. It just doesn't work.
Okay.
You know? Yeah. That's what it is. Like, I think that most godly you could do is, like, Maximilian. Like, there's a lot of Maxes out there, and I think that's, like...
Yeah. Like, you can name your dog Zeus, but you can't name your son.
No. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Just doesn't work. But don't let me judge you. You tell me what your kids are named, if you like.
And if there's a cool story how either you got your name or you gave your kids their name.
What are popular names from the 30s? Let's look this up quickly.
Let's look that up really quickly. I know that, like, John... has been up there on the charts for a very...
Going down the charts this week, Measy Bucko, we're going to look at kids' names and how they associate to other things. Here we go. That's my, like, in-between Casey Kasem and Dick Clark.
So, Richard, Charles, Donald, George.
They only had boys in the 30s.
And the girls' names were Patricia, Dorothy, Joan, and Margaret.
Oh. What's Margaret short for? Peggy?
Right? Margaret is the name, and then you can shorten it to Maggie, Marge, Margie, and Peggy. I don't know where you get Peggy out of that.
I don't know how you get Peggy either, and I don't think anyone should be named Peggy because it just sounds like Piggy.
Me and my friend Brian had a joke where if your last name was Parton, like if Dolly Parton had a daughter, she should name her Peggy, because then you'd be like, who are you? Peggy Parton? Like, Begging for it was MK's. But the number one name for boys during the 1930s was Robert, and the number one name for girls was Mary.
Well.
And then it was like Robert, James, John, William, Richard, Charles, Donald, George, Thomas, Joseph, David, Edward. And
how come there's no Jesuses? Like you have
Well, and
Marys.
this is North American. Because I'm sure if you were in the South American countries, Jesus is a very popular name. And the ladies was Mary, Betty, Barbara, Shirley, Patricia, Dorothy, Joan, Margaret, Nancy, Helen, Carol, Joyce.
That is kind of cute.
Yeah. Ruth, Virginia.
Wouldn't you name your baby? Like, think of characters off TV. Fozzie. I wouldn't name my kid Fozzie.
Maybe a nickname.
Not even.
I would not name my son Michael Jackson.
Wasn't that from Arrested Development?
No, I think his name is George Michael.
George Michael.
On Arrested Development. Yeah, I probably wouldn't name my baby Cersei.
Cersei.
But Khaleesi apparently is a new popular name too. People like Game of Thrones and they like naming their babies.
I wouldn't name my kid anyone that like works in accounting, like Harvey or like Gary. But everyone knows that about me. Gary, Harv, or like the other ones that are up there. What are old man names?
John.
No, John, but not John. Like Hank.
But Hank is short for Henry.
Hank is actually not that bad.
I don't mind that. I like Henry. That is a name.
Biff.
But like it says here, in the 1850s, the number one boy's name was John, and the number one girl's name was Mary, and that's
what was
1850.
the least favorable names in the 50s?
I don't know. It only gives the top 5, but it's always John, Thomas, William, James, Robert, and they just move in popularity.
Can't wait for sounds. I know that's already a bit by so many people, but
we met a girl named Echo.
Yeah, but the Echo is. Yeah,
interesting.
She is interesting.
Yeah, it's a good name.
But it's one of those things where it's like, no, you can't name it after a thing. Don't name it Apple.
What's going to stop somebody from this is my daughter Dolphin?
Yeah, or McDonald's. This is McDonald's.
Big Mac. This is my sweet little boy McChicken. Come here, Whopper.
Like, don't
time for red school.
Like it's part of my bit, but like esophagus, like that.
Yeah.
Like it's just like no, it's just the same thing.
Yeah, that's true. Or like a body part, yeah. Like,
no.
This is Arch. Achilles. Although that's a body part, but also a god, so you could get away with that. But yeah, it says the most popular baby names for the past 100 years always kind of go back to like John, Mary, Patricia.
John, Jacob, Smith.
Jingleheimer.
You know? all the common ones.
Here we go. This is cool. It says, in 1914, the top names for girls were Mary, Elizabeth, Margaret, Doris, Florence, Annie, Dorothy, Alice, Edith, and Elsie.
Elsie's going to come back hard.
I knew a lady named Elsie. She lived till she was 98, and she was the sassiest, most hilarious woman in the whole wide world. That's a good name.
What's your name?
Yep.
Give us your name. Not your name, but give us the name that you like for a child that is going to be birthed by Lauren, fathered by Aaron. Is that how it is? Is that how people say it? That's very old school. That's a way of saying it. But
well, you get to be the father, and I just get to be the birther.
Yeah.
I'm the mom. I'm the mommy. The mom.
The birther. Lauren.
Come out of my vagina, but it is his
Lauren
father.
the birther Cochran.
That's my wrestling name. Okay, I take that back. Go back to the wrestling episode when I couldn't think of a name. That's my name.
Lauren the birther. Thank you for joining us. Please subscribe to our channel to keep us, living and doing our thing. We really, really appreciate it when you do subscribe and when you do comment below. We do love it. We do look at them. Sometimes we're not as speedy as we should be, but we do love the interaction.
Please, help us name our baby.
Help us name our baby. It's easy. Just think of what's the best name, and then you can put / worst name, and then put another one. I would love that. I'd love to see the worst names.
The worst name you've ever heard or could think of.
Yeah.
Would be cool.
And let's get away from brand names. Let's just actually think of names.
This is my son Beelzebub.
Yeah. No Skeletors, no He-Mans, no She-Ras, none of that. Like actual names. Alright, thanks everyone. We love you so very much, and we will be seeing you shortly next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.